Now, the sum of $23.4 million loot is believed to have been siphoned out of Nigeria in the 1990s by the associates and family of former head of state, General Sani Abacha. This latest discovery is made by the National Crime Agency in the UK. According to a communique issued by the agency, the funds formed part of a larger pool of monies identified by the U.S. Department of Justice as having been misappropriated by Abacha and his allies. The NCA revealed that the funds have now been transferred to the Home Office for onward transmission to the U.S. Department of Justice. The statement also revealed that it took almost 7 years to pursue the protracted litigation and international negotiation to obtain the recovery order to enforce the U.S. forfeiture order relating to the recovered monies. Since Abacha's death in 1998, recovered monies have principally been stashed away in 4 major countries of Switzerland, Jersey Island, and the United Kingdom, the United States, and Liechtenstein. So let's talk this through by speaking with a publisher inside Watch Africa, Oluwase Adeyemo. Thank you so much for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you for having me this morning.
Well, this is coming out after about 7 years of protracted litigation and international negotiation. What's your initial reactions to this?
The fact that as a people, we should be thankful that we were able to put something in place that allowed us to work with Interpol to start to give us this kind of returns. Because at the end of the day, we've had cases before Abacha where a lot of money was stolen and stashed away outside of Nigeria, and we never got anything back. My worry and concern is how well are we doing? Because so we hear of Abacha, I'm thinking we should be hearing of other people, because the truth of the matter is, as a country, we will be deceiving ourselves if we say that there have been other people, or there have not been other people who have stolen and have stashed away money, all of this while. So my concern is, what are we doing to the rest of Nigerians, all our leaders who are stealing our money and have stashed it out of here?
Well, the NCA said the case was ongoing with further funds, identified by the U.S. Department of Justice as having also been misappropriated by Abacha and his associates. Well, the question in the mind is, how come someone who's died 24 years ago and still sending us monies from his grave?
I think, again, I think we should be thankful that we were able to put a particular structure in place. Because, that's the thing about law. It doesn't matter whether you're alive or you're dead. As long as a structure is in place and arrangement and negotiations have been put in place, whether you're dead or not, 10 years, 20 years after, that arrangement and structure will continue to yield the result. So the concern is, let's put the appropriate structure in place so that whoever steals from us will naturally pay back, whether the person is alive or dead.
Makes sense. So some of the monies that we've recovered so far, some of them included $322 million from Switzerland in 2017 and $308 million from the UK in 2020. So where have most of these monies gone?
Okay, there have been arrangements. It was said that the first loot, which is called the Abacha one, was the one that we weren't too sure of how it went. But by the second Abacha, we've had cases where we've had proper structure in place, because at the end of the day, these people that are sending this money to you or are releasing this money to you will be concerned about the way this money is being spent. So there have been committees, there have been government, those who are sending it, and the activists, they've put on the committee whereby they're able to monitor the way the money is being spent. So Nigeria have claimed that we spent it on infrastructure and all of that. Some people have argued that they cannot see, but I know that we have been able to pin some of this money down to certain infrastructure. But the point is, we also need to be cautious the way we go about the expending of this money, because at the end of the day, you're not likely to get as much as you ought to get if those who are releasing it see that what you're having is, it was siphoned and is now being re-siphoned. You don't want a situation like that. You need to be able to convince the rest of the world that this money is being judiciously invested.
As a matter of fact, one of the countries actually declined in sending back the money because of what you said, because they believe that the legislators in that country believe that the monies could be re-siphoned. But then today's leader in the country have been accused of being corrupt. So much so that, matter of fact, some people say that the military era was better. But looking at, some of the looted funds being recovered from Abacha, it shows that the military dictators such as Abacha himself was never a saint at all.
No, obviously. I mean, over time, it's been proven that no Nigerian have been able to show us, in years past, that as leaders, they've done well. And again, we'll take it back to the fact that we have the appropriate structure in place to sort of question them. Because recently, I discovered that this thing that we all call security funds, it was said that there's even nothing like that, that it was contingency funds. Now, the point is, how are those things being spent? Now, if we cannot question them whilst they're in office, can we question them when they're out of office? Because you can't say that you have a contingency fund which is in the budget and you just allow people to spend it at their will and nobody question them. So these are the reasons why people do what they do, is because nobody questioned them and ask them the question that is meant to be asked. So I mean, if you and I have the opportunity like that and there's a fund that is handed over to us and we can spend without any control, we will naturally misuse such money.
Maybe I won't.
The point is, look, you see, the truth of the matter is, that's why in law it is said that absolute power corrupts absolutely. Look, human beings will be human beings. If you do not have control, if you do not have things that puts you in check, which is where the work is, any human being, anywhere in the world, whether you're white or black, I mean, we've seen several things that have happened over the years. The thing is, check people. Put structures in place that will put you to question. Even as easy as time. If you don't have a time, anybody can wake up anytime and come to work anytime. But it's time that tells us, okay, at so time we need to do so thing, and at so time we need to stop doing so thing. So that for me is where the work is, and we need to do that.
I love the fact that you kept talking about putting the proper structure in place. But how do you react to some people who are of the opinion that their bachelors are so being recovered because the man is dead? How much would you say about those who are being like that, the military administrators who are still alive? Is that to say that they are still, we may have done even worse? So does that make any sense to you in any way?
Whether you're military or a civilian, if you notice, I've been emphasizing on the fact that whether they're alive or dead, the important thing is, as a people, we must be deliberate in the way we put checks and balance in place. Because look, it will be stolen, it will be taken away, and at the end of the day, Nigeria lose. Because you see, and I think it's also important that we, increase the noise about the fact that some of this money that we think, if it's stolen, will not affect us. We need to understand that the reason why we're where we are today as a people is because we have allowed this unnecessary loot, this unnecessary preferring of our
national
wealth. So we need to protect it, because no money is there forever. The reason why we're able to still have our heads above the water is because monies like this are coming back. Imagine they're not coming back and we're having to deal with all the things we're dealing with right now without any money coming back. You can imagine the situation will be. For me, we cannot save enough. So please, whatever it will cost us to ensure that people do not keep stealing this money that seem like it can't finish. I think that's the impression we all get, that okay, let me go steal mine so that the other guy will go steal his, and at the end of the day, nothing will happen to us. But something is happening, so we can see it. Insecurity, the structures are down. I mean, when my kids talk, they talk about the fact that we never have electricity. It seems as if all of those things are, and unfortunately, I'm in the middle 50s. When I was also growing up, the situation was the same. And so you keep asking, when are you going to have a situation in Nigeria that will have stable light and things will work the way it ought to? The day we learn how to reduce the pilfering and stealing of our national wealth.
We may call it Abacha loot all we want. I guess we've probably lost track of the fact that those who might have been complicit with him, he wouldn't have done this alone without at least with the 8 top officials in the CBN, for instance, and at that time. So he hardly ever left the country, being the head of state, because he knew what could happen if he had left the country. So who were those that took these monies on his behalf based on what you've heard so.
So you would always be called a bachelor, because at the end of the day, we must always understand that when you say you're a leader, the buck stops on your table. So those people were able to do the things they did on his behalf because he allowed it. If he had said, no, this is not the way we're going to deal with this, nobody will be able to do that. So if we're chasing them, we're just chasing after shadows as far as I'm concerned. The most important thing is whoever helps to lead us as a people must be one that will not have a team of thieves that will steal on his behalf, because at the end of the day, it is still doing Nigeria a harm. So I'm not going to encourage us to bother ourselves about chasing after those who stole the money on his behalf. The concern is whoever ends up sitting as head must be one that has, is reasonable enough and has the integrity and character to say we should not loot these funds. It is for the common good of Nigerians.
So you're not bent on the fact that the military era wasn't any saint at all, whether it's the military or the civilian, they're all the same.
As long as you allow when it comes to careless pilfering, as long as you don't put structure in place to check whether the person is wearing agbada or uniform, the person will steal anyway. Quote me anywhere in the world. I mean, we see it. We are seeing it every day that, even the supposed developed societies, it's not that everything is foolproof. It is the fact that they have a structure in place that puts everybody in check. The human nature is always very selfish, and you always want more and more for yourself. What puts you in check is, no, if you do this, you are going to be reprimanded for it, and you will not go scot-free. The problem we've had is the fact that I know that nothing will happen, and that is something we need to put in check.
Well, so how about these countries, some of these countries, the roles they played in the first place, in the first instance, allowing stolen funds to be stashed in a way into their own country for so many years, and having to subject the recovery of these monies to years of litigations before they are repatriated. They repatriate same to us.
If you choose to be stupid, everybody will take advantage of your stupidity. If you choose to be foolish, everybody will take advantage of your foolish. You see, truth of the matter is, we should stop this idea of feeling that the rest of the world will just take care of us if we don't take care of ourselves. The Yoruba people say that it's that child that raises his hand that is always carried. In fact, in talking about all of this, the reason why we'll be able to get those thrones back is our posture, the way we carry ourselves. Are we a people that is seen as being serious and willing to protect his own? Do we have a negotiating power? Can people entrust certain things into our hands? If we run around as the way we have done over the years as careless people who do not bother about what happens to the wealth that God has given to us, the rest of the world will help us to take it away, because it makes their own country better. Look, at the end of the day, if you remember,
doesn't that make them complicit in any way?
The way the world was built was conquering kingdoms. That is the way the world was built. Even here, the Oyo Empire, this empire, they go into other people's kingdom, they take them out and take their things, and they run over them, and that's the way the world is structured. So it is your own responsibility as a person to protect your own, to guide your own, to show that what you have has a worth, and you believe that it ought to be protected. Look, if you expect that the rest of the world will just like you for the sake of liking you, the man is a nice man, he's a Nigerian, and they run. No, that's not the way the world works. So please don't place the blame. We have to place on ourselves, on the rest of the world. They will do it now, they'll do it tomorrow. Whether they're doing it and you can see clearly does not mean they're not doing it, because they would always find a way to structure it. If they need to take it under the table, they'll take it under the table. They need to take it out through the economy, to whatever it is in negotiation, in making sure that you pay more for something you should have paid less. They will do it. That is the way the world runs.
So we should be the one to take care of ourselves in the home front. But then, so let's even look at the corruption cases, in the home front, which you're advocating, of which this current administration is one of the fulcrums of this administration, saying we want to fight corruption to a standstill. How far have we gone in this struggle?
I think we've not done well, and I've said it severally, even here on this TV station, that the only way to go about this is to look at the regulators. You need to ask yourself. So you have EFCC, you have NDLA, you have customs, you have police, you have all of those people that are meant to regulate. Those are the people that is going to do this job for you. They're the one that is going to arrest. Can you beat your chest as a people that you're truly doing all you can to ensure that those people are satisfied, they're comfortable, and they will be driven. Because you see, you say to yourself, the guys who are in other private companies are Nigerians. Those who work and they are celebrated all over the world, Nigerians who are in IT and all of those people in oil companies and communications, they're Nigerians. And they're doing so well that some of them are being asked to go and help out in other countries all over the world. Can we come together as a people, understand that the only way to make all of these things work is first benchmark the way you remunerate your people with the way other people remunerate their regulators all over the world. Benchmark how you train your regulators in Nigeria with the way regulators are trained outside of Nigeria. The reason why the American army or American soldier, American police is doing as well as, can we sit down and engage them and see why are they doing? Is it that they're superhuman beings? No, it's because those people who are doing those jobs are very happy doing those jobs. I've given an example here. I said, look, if you go today, this morning, into a restaurant out there, and you see a Nigerian police officer eating and sitting down, maybe with his family, it will look odd, because we all have come to the conclusion that they are expected to eat in the mama put in a dirty corner. No, that's not the way you ought to be. So truth of the matter is, a people get the kind of police they deserve and they, sort of put in place. So the question is, do we want to continue to pay these regulators the stipend that we pay them, train them the way we train them, and at the end of the day we get the kind of result we are getting? Or we want to make up our mind and say, even if it's only half of them that we're able to employ and properly pay and properly train so that we can get the result that we expect to get from them, the day we decide that, we will see a very sharp turnaround in the way things are done in Nigeria, and corruption will leave out of here. Look, the truth of the matter is, if you tell me as a dog or cat and you put meat all over the house, and at the end of the day you starve me and you say, okay, I want you to help me keep this, I mean, you're joking, because at the end of the day, as long as I am hungry, I will eat out of that meat. So the thing is, have you fed me? Have you given me a position where I feel a sense of ownership? I feel that this job I'm doing is one that will take me home and I'll be able to stand, because at the end of the day you're going to close from work and you're expected to be a father, you expect to be a husband, a wife or something. Am I able to do that when I leave office? Or am I going to go back home and back at my wife and say, don't you know that I'm an officer of the Nigerian police? No, you must be able to pay your bills, you must be able to train your children, you must be able to give them at least some basic comfort. Those are the things we must be deliberate about. We should not pay lip service to it. We should not say, they should take care of themselves. I do understand it, because what we're trying to do is we're using a magic wand and we're expecting that everything will just fall in place. No, certain things must be done, and like I said, it's simple. Just benchmark it with those countries that are doing well and they're able to get results from their system.
Who is really going to do this? Because in your analysis, it's very fantastic, but then who are the we? Is it the people of the country, or is it the people who are charged with the responsibility
simply put,
of administrating?
Simply put, those who administer. Mr. President, you sit down, you put up a team in. So you're putting a team and you're saying, guys, you know what, we're going to tighten our belt and we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that. The point is, they're looking at your disposition. They're looking at, so how are we going to do this? Because if you're working in the presidency and you're not expected to steal or do anything, make sure that Nigeria works. The point is, what are you putting in place so that I can go home and I'll be sure that what I am doing is worth my while? Because look, it was done when El Rufai came into BPE. He brought a team and he got them, Nigeria, to pay them a consolidated salary, and those guys did magic. They turned around BPE, and all of us, we can testify to that. It's as simple as that. So if you want to put a team together as Mr. President, as Mr. Governor, as chairman of a local government, you must then make sure that what they need to survive and do the work well, the tools, the computers and all of that is put in place, or else you'll just be playing around, beating about around the bush. Yeah,
the bottom line is that we also believe that the Abacha loot, at the end of the day, are put to judicious use. Just
That's
like
also a responsibility on Mr. President.
Advocated. A publisher, Inside Watch Africa, Oluwaseyi Adeyemo. Thank you very kindly for your insights this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.